bent double like old beggars under sacks. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and toward our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on, bloodshod. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas! Gas! Quick, boys! An ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and floundering like a man on fire or lime, dim through the misty panes in thick green light, as under a green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eye writhing in his face, his hanging face like a devil's sick of sin, if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, keen as cancer, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie, Dulce et Decorum Est pro patria mori. Hey guys, so today I will be annotating Dulce et Decorum Est, which is a poem by Wilfred Owens, and I'll be using the tip fast method. So first things first, I'm looking at the title and that screams Latin to me, so I know that this is of a Latin descent, some kind, this phrase. So you have to do some research whenever looking for the meaning of this title in English. Actually, a line, it's a part of a line, which you'll see later on in the poem, by a Roman lyrical poet. But the whole phrase is Dulce et Decorum Est pro patria mori, which is, it is sweet and glorious to die for one's country. So I know this is going to be about war of some kind. Just because of this, I'm assuming that there's going to be war. What is sweet and glorious? I'm guessing it is to die for one's country, because that is later on in the poem. So that is what, to use a TFSP paraphrase, like I said, this is a poem about a man's perception on war and dying for one's country, and the wars of what seems to be World War II, because there's gas mentioned, so gas warfare. So this seems to be along the lines of World War II, and also talking about trenches and such like that, sludging through. Okay, so figurative devices. There are a ton. So let's just start with similes. Right here at the beginning, bent double like old beggars under sacks, and this compares soldiers to beggars because of their appearance, and it just has this connotation of being old and uncared for and poor. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags. So this is, once again, gives you that sickly, old, very negative connotated here in those portions. So we have a definite negative tone here. Next we'll look at metaphors. So we've got haunting flares, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs. So this is saying that, you know, the flares are haunting. They kind of have a spiritual, they have kind of like a ghost feel against the darkness that they're fighting in. the war is also haunting to the soldiers because, you know, they can't escape. And then drunk with fatigue. Deaf even to the hoots. They're described as drunk once again because of their appearance. These two are definitely appearance metaphors because of how shaggy and old and torn apart they look from war. And they're not alert, they're tired, they've been fighting. So drunk with fatigue, both drunk and fatigue here are used in that sense. And then we've got more similes down here. Floundering like a man in fire or lime. So this is kind of to give you more of a feel. So floundering like a man in fire. So you get kind of that sensory. This is a sensory simile. Because it gives you that feel of what they're feeling. And just to let you know the pain that really these men are going through. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. So this is definitely brought back to this repetition of gas. Gas, quick boys. That's going back to that. The gas is obviously the green fog, and it's just covered, and you have to use a gas mask obviously to see through this. And it gives you something that you can relate to. So like a thick green light, as green as, you know, as under a green sea. So that gives you the cloudiness of not being able to see exactly what's in front of you. And also that sense of drowning in the gas. So then he also uses connotated words. He goes from positive connotated to negative connotated words in this portion of the poem. So you got smothering dreams, hanging face, froth corrupted lungs, bitter as cud, obscene as cancer, which we can all relate to. Cancer, how deadly and terrible it is. Vile, just negative connotative words to really give you that sense of, whoa, this is bad. All of a sudden we have our shift. Right here is where I would label our shift. And it's a very odd place, but I noticed this shift because of his change in language. He uses my friend, would not tell with such high zest, to children ardent with desperate glory. And then obviously this meaning here, it is sweet and decorous to die for one's country. So making it sound like it's an honor. But before, his attitude was so negative and just down. He also uses a lot of imagery here, with and especially in this portion here, an ecstasy, a fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, yelling out and stumbling, guttering, choking, drowning. These are all words that give you an image of what's happening in this mind. And also I have to comment on switch of point of view. So here he uses we, our, men, all. This is just an overview of him including himself in with everyone. Then here, everything swishes to more of a personal feel, because he uses words like I, my, me. So this is a personal stands up for him, something he's experienced. And then we go right back to the third person with "we flung him in." But then here, "if you could hear," you. So now he's making it more personal with his audience, trying to put them into the situation that he is in, saying that you would not tell with such high zest to your children. So what is the overall theme? What is this poem trying to tell us? That it's not pretty to die for one's country, like it is said to be. You don't go all the time in a blaze of glory. You're tortured. And so why make it sound like these men they're so wonderful what they're doing when they're going through a terrible ordeal? And that is what the poet is trying to say here. Especially whenever he gives a specific example of the young man who's dying, that they have to show again and carry his body off, which is quite sad and allows you to really feel, especially here with the listing, guttering, choking, drowning, just how bad it really was. And so we go back to the title. So Dulce Et Decorum Est. So we found out, what is sweet. This isn't. There's nothing sweet about this. And with using, the sweet connotation here at the beginning, this because this means sweet, it's just completely opposite of what this poem is. It tells you just how awful everything is. So that is Tip Fast method of annotating Dulce Et Decorum Est.